Okay, I think we have enough people in here to begin. Those that roll in can just catch up as we go. So my name is Jim Dorrance. This is the webinar for the 2022 Joint EBCE and San Jose Clean Energy Long-Term Resource RFO. The webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website after. Next slide, please. So this is a lot of material and we have an hour here. We do want to reserve at least 10 minutes at the end for any questions. And so as I mentioned, both the presentation and a recording of it will be available after the webinar if anything is missed. So today we're going to go over first an introduction for East Bay Community Energy and San Jose Clean Energy to tell you who we are and what we do. Then we're going to give an overview of the long-term resource RFO and the particulars. We'll discuss the timeline, and then we'll go through with the time we have any questions and answers, including those that were already submitted. And so below on the slide are the particulars for submitting questions. Please do that through the Zoom chat function in the webinar, and then we'll be able to address those at the end. So East Bay Community Energy, which I'm a member of, an employee, it is a joint powers authority that was formed in 2016. We are a community choice energy provider. We are governed by our board of directors, which is composed with representatives from our 15 participating cities. The third bullet are some statistics about EBCE, about our customer size and our load and our population. Our goal in EBCE is committed to providing our customers with clean green power at low rates. And then we invest earnings back in the community to help local projects, local energy projects and clean energy projects. This is just some more details about East Bay Community Energy. We are an independent public agency. EBCE recently secured our investment grade credit rating through S&P, and that's linked here on the third bullet. Just a note about the RFO is that offers should assume no form of credit support for any executed deals in the form of credit or collateral. And included here is a link to EBCE's audited financials. EBCE has already executed long-term agreements for more than 825 megawatts of new renewable energy and 350 megawatts of battery storage since we started. I'm going to turn it over to Phil Cornish from San Jose Clean Energy, and he's going to discuss some of the background and details for San Jose.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're a little bit different than all the other CCAs. We're a single jurisdiction serving only the city of San Jose, but the city of San Jose is big, 10th largest in the US with over 1 million people. We have about 350,000 customer accounts, 4,000 gigawatt hour annual load with a 1 gigawatt peak demand. We've been around since, we were authorized in 2017, started serving load in 2019, and we provide clean energy for our residents and businesses at competitive rates. And we also offer programs and local control and more transparency and accessibility. Next slide, please. So we are set up as a department within the city. It's called the Community Energy Department, and we administer San Jose Clean Energy, and our board is our San Jose City Council. So that is quite different than many other CCAs. We have a designated fund separate from the general fund. That's pretty common in cities like a wastewater facility or a muni water company or an airport, very similar to that structure. Like East Bay, offers should assume no form of credit support from us. That's our standard. This web page here has our audited financials. That's updated automatically, so you can always visit there to see the latest. And we've signed long-term agreements for over 450 megawatts of wind, solar, and battery storage, with more on the way. And that's it for me. I'll turn it back over to Jim.
Thanks, Phil. So now we're going to get into the particulars of the RFO, and I do want to remind everyone that this webinar is being recorded. So at a high level, As mentioned, this is a joint RFO from both East Bay Community Energy and San Jose Clean Energy. We're looking for new long-term resources with renewable and/or zero emission energy. And this is for satisfying both of our state level compliances and to allow us to deliver low cost, zero emission renewable energy back to our customers, which is important. Here is a link for the RFO materials. It can be found on both our website and San Jose Clean Energy's. The big item here is that, just which I'll echo throughout, is that offers are due on March 21st of this month, which is March. And then within this link are the RFO materials, and these are the items that are contained within that we'll discuss here during this. So the goals of the RFO, we're targeting multi-hundreds of megawatts of capacity to contribute to greenhouse gas reduction targets for both EBCE and San Jose Clean Energy. We're looking at a number of different eligible products that are listed below. I do want to highlight product 4, which is the high capacity factor, no on-site emissions RPS energy. This is defined within the decision for the midterm reliability link below. So these are the different products that we're expecting offers for, and we'll discuss each of them throughout this webinar. So project eligibility, the first is relative to facilities. The locations may be either in or outside California, but all the energy must be delivered in the CalISO. Energy and related products can come from new resources primarily, but can also be from existing resources based on the product type for the offer submitted. It's a minimum capacity of 5 megawatts and a maximum of 150 megawatts for offers submitted. For the as available RPS product with energy storage, this range defined here applies only to the generation asset and does not include the store, so it isn't combined. For energy and RPS, delivery must be in either 2023 or 2024, and both EBCE and San Jose have a preference for those projects that are delivering energy earlier, and we'll expedite those through the process, as will be discussed. So the project viability requirements, products 1 through 4 must meet the requirements to be a PCC1 renewable resource per the RPS decision and regulations. And also for product 6 when RPS offers are included in there. For site control, we require documentation which the offer material will denote, showing the level of site control the developer has. And then these are the requirements for the interconnection here. For products with RA, FCDS or PCDS must be obtained or be in the process of obtaining deliverability, with the particulars listed here for those. Interconnection, there's a lot here. So this is specific for projects with RA. For submitted offers, they need to be able to demonstrate at least one of these items here, which I'm not gonna read through, but these are also contained on our website. But to be eligible, one of these items must be able to be satisfied for those projects that have RA. So that's kind of the high level parts of the RFO about the products that we're looking for. We'll dig into some of the details, but we're going to begin by discussing how both EBCE and San Jose Clean Energy will be evaluating these projects. The two tables here outline the weighting that both we will use for scoring the individual projects and those variations within it. The big ones are offer competitiveness, which are defined here, and counterparty risk. A counterparty risk includes the development experience of the submitters, those experience with CCAs, and then of course the number of proposed edits to the term sheets that are provided within the RFO material. EBCE has a strong preference for projects that are located within our service territory and that employ local and union labor. And San Jose has additional weighting for those projects that satisfies requirements for the local and small business enterprise as well. Okay, so now we're going to talk about preparing the offers and a little bit about the individual products. And these are some guidelines for developing the offers that we're asking of the developers. This refers to the submissions for all required information. and also details some of the offer submission components for additional variations. Underlined here is one product for one site. And so, we really build the offer forms off of a single facility, and then offer is constituted when there's a product for one site, but we can be receiving offers for many products for that one site, but they need to follow the requirements for the single offer. A complete offer must contain at least one of the must contain all of the standard offers for the individual product, and then include the required information in the format requested within the protocol, which includes data entry into the relevant offer forms. And again, this material is all available on our website with all the other RFO protocols. Variations are encouraged, and the details need to be submitted to comply with the required parameters. And below here, the bullets on the bottom are some direction for which offer forms correspond to which product. And again, this is all contained within the protocol as well. So within the guidelines is the particulars for price. And so respondents must submit offers for the respective product tabs in the offer form. So each offer form is built with multiple tabs that correspond to the different product types. The table below discusses the different pricing format by product. And so each product here is listed on the left, and then these are the pricing characteristics that we're looking for within the offers. These are specifications for the submissions that must be included within the offers. Terms may be offered for between 10 and 12 years, and then there's standard terms for the standard offer discussed. We will accept variations on pricing here in the table. Scheduling coordinator, the ownership, the projects will need to be owned by the developer, by the respondent. And then we encourage variations on the offers after the standard offer is submitted and compliant. The variations can be submitted attached to a single product and single facility. And there are not limitations on the number of offers or the amount of variations for specific offers that are submitted. So what we require, all offers must comply with the standard offer requirements that are outlined here in the presentation and within the protocol. An offer for any product must contain what we are requiring under the definition of standard offer for the product, which we'll outline. Variations to the standard offer are optional, but they are definitely encouraged as written here below. So now we're going to talk about the products that we mentioned previously, the individual ones. The first product is as available RPS energy, with the table showing what is required for both the standard offers and the parameters below for any variations. So product one is a new existing standalone PCC1 eligible resource, which includes the incremental capacity. Submissions of both standard offers are required to show that the product has pricing at both fixed price and a 2% escalation. And then the variations are allowed and encouraged and defined in the bottom half of this table. So product two is the same as available RPS, but now we're adding in storage, co-located energy storage with 2, 4, or longer duration capabilities. EBCE would receive the benefits from all project attributes. The top half of the table, 1 and 2, are the standard offers that are required. And then the bottom is the range of variations that are encouraged to be submitted along with the standard offer. Product 3 is a firmed and shaped RPS product from one or more RPS eligible resources. And so this is energy that can come from many resources. Again, we're asking for 2 types of standard offers to be submitted to be compliant. And then we encourage variations based on the below. One note here to kind of talk about the standard offers. So what we're asking is, again, this is a firmed and shaped product. So we're asking the seller to propose both a desired shape based on the makeup of the resource or resources, but then we also require an offer based on the requirements of the buyer. And so that is defined within the protocol. Next slide. So high capacity factor RPS. So this includes things like geothermal biomass. These need to be online by June 1st, 2026. There are 3 standard offers that are required. Here outlined in the table. All have capacity factors greater than 80%. And then again, the variations are outlined here below. Yeah, I think that highlights that. Next slide. The 5th product is standalone energy storage as a toll. And again, we're looking at the hour capability to be 2, 4, or greater than 4 hours. The RFO protocol states that all storage must be online by 2025, but this is incorrect and needs to be changed. For long duration, which is defined as 8 hours or more, storage may achieve COD by June 1st, 2026. And so for anything less than 8 hours, it's online by 25, but anything that is considered long duration may achieve COD as late as June 1st, 2026. Obviously, it can be on earlier as well. So again, we have the standard offers at the top of the table, what we're looking for to be compliant, and then the encouraged variations in the bottom half of the table. Product 6 is zero emission capacity resources. This can be either RPS or other zero emission projects, but does need to satisfy the requirements that are listed here within the top table and also at the link in the previous slide. This either needs to be a new project or an existing project where new capacity is added. This is an emission-free generating resource that can be paired or that needs to be paired with storage or demand response. And so, it can be a new zero emitting project, or it can be an existing project where storage has been added or demand response has been added to it as well. These projects need to be able to deliver energy from 5 to 10 p.m. daily and provide at least 5 megawatts of energy for every 1 megawatt of new incremental capacity. And again, they must be online by 2025 unless the storage capacity is greater than 8 hours. Then it could be June 1st, 26. Okay, so those are the 6 products that we're discussing. Now we're going to get into some of the particulars of the offer forms and some of the components of the evaluation and the negotiation. So these offer forms need to be completed for each product and facility. This is offer form 1 we're looking at. For product 6, which was the zero emitting component, they can use offer form 1. I'll get this in the next slide, but we're developing the offer form for the DR component of that. For submitting multiple products from the same facility, one offer form needs to be completed, and the tabs will be used for the different product types. So the offer form, kind of the basis of it, is built around what the facility is and the particulars, including some information about the developer. But then there are many tabs within the offer form to denote the different product types that were described. So if you're offering different product types for the same facility, you don't need to continually fill out the particulars for that facility. But a separate offer form does need to be completed for each different facility that is offered. Next slide, please. Okay, so offer form 2, and again, this one is in development. This is for the demand response, and we are finalizing both the term sheet and the offer form for that, but that should be on the next week. And that is specific for those projects that include demand response for product 6, as was discussed. Okay, moving on. So that's a discussion of kind of the primary offer form and especially the facility-related inputs that are needed. The offer supplement is also required for all offers, and this will also include more facility details. Only one supplemental offer form is required for each facility, even if there are multiple products offered from that facility. And this is going to include some background for the developer and including the project details. The instructions for the offer supplemental are included in attachment D of the RFO materials. And again, these are located on our websites. So required information, this is a matrix that's showing the required information for each of the product types that were discussed. Again, also detailed within the protocol. Yeah, you see that we're asking for kind of the similar things than the reference to the attachments within the material here. And again, we see a lot of similarity from products 1 through 5 and a little bit of variation for product 6 on here. And again, all this is available. I'm not going to go through the particulars of this table, but it's informational. Okay, so that's kind of a discussion of the products, and that's what we're asking for through the offer form. Now we're going to get into kind of the mechanics of the submissions. We're going to start with discussing the notice of intent. If you plan to submit an offer, you need to file a notice of intent via email. And this is in order to receive access to a folder link in Dropbox. EBCE in San Jose will be using Dropbox to receive offers and submission packets where they'll be uploaded to. We have received some notice of intents already, and we'll begin providing access to dedicated Dropbox folders for those after today's webinar. The big one here is the notice for submitting notice of intent is March 17th by 2 p.m. That's 2 weeks from today. The instructions for how to file and the form of filing notice of intent is included in the attachment A of the RFO material. So again, as we said, for communicating with us and for finding the RFO materials, you can use the link here, which is found on EBCE's webpage. All the RFO materials, informations, including announcements and question and answers will be posted here within this link on this webpage. So as we receive questions, we will tabulate them and answer them. This will be kept here. Any kind of changes or updates to the protocol will be addressed to the website, and that will be your go-to area for all things kind of addressing the RFO materials. So for questions, please send any questions or inquiries to the email address here, again, also on the website. This will allow us to communicate effectively with developers for all questions that are needed. EBC and San Jose Clean Energy will not respond to any questions submitted after the deadline for questions, which is March 11th. So if you have any questions, get them into the email. After that point, we will take the questions, post the answers, and have that be available to applicants, to respondents. Next slide. Okay. So we talked about where to find the RFO material. We talked about the products. We're going to talk about kind of some of the process-based components of this, of the RFO. So all offers are submitted, and both EBCE and San Jose Clean Energy will begin negotiations after the offer period closes. We're going to work between EBC and San Jose to have standard terms, standard commercial terms across all the projects. So EBCE and San Jose will review these collaboratively. And then the terms will be, the commercial terms will be the same across all the different projects, across all the different development to make the process work effectively for us. One-off edits, those specific to a project or to a developer, need to be justified, and we encourage having standardized language across the negotiations for all the projects. For those resources that have a COD in 2023, they may be expedited because we know that the clock's ticking on getting those online. Final agreements will be executed between the developer and EBCE or between the developer and San Jose. We will not have any tripartite agreements. So the agreements between developers and the projects will be specific to the CCA. There won't be any situation where the three parties are linked to the same agreement. I'm going to turn over to Marie Fontenot. She of the EBC, and she's going to discuss some particulars about prepaid transactions and supplier diversity.
Thanks, Jim. What I'm about to cover only applies to EBCE. EBCE plans to enter any PPA that we enter for energy We plan to use it in what's called a prepay transaction. And again, this only applies to PPAs for energy, standalone storage, or the storage component of an RPS plus storage resource would not apply to this. But any energy contracts, we plan to enter into this prepay assignment structure. The purpose of it is that EBCE is able to use our tax exempt status and issue a municipal bond to prepay for the energy that we will be procuring through the contract. Doing so actually allows us to achieve cost savings for our customers. Sorry, bear with me. Some of the key elements of this structure. In this structure, the renewable PPA will be assigned to a designated taxable prepay supplier. EBCE continues to be the off-taker for the energy and any related attributes that are delivered through the contract. And there are no other changes to the PPA terms. There's just the assignment to this special entity, the prepay supplier. This slide sort of shows the mechanics of how the structure works. The prepay structure actually is a well-known structure already. It has been used for natural gas transactions since the 1990s. It is accepted by the IRS. And some of the active taxable prepay suppliers in the financial marketplace include Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Royal Bank of Canada, and Bank of America. And again, this sort of confusing graphic is just meant to reflect the fact that EBCE stays the off-taker of the contract. An assignment agreement is put in place solely to allow the taxable prepay supplier to pay the developer or the seller of the energy and then deliver the energy and related attributes onto EBCE. If something were to happen and the taxable prepay entity were to cease to exist, or if it were to cease to exist for some strange reason, the PPA would revert back to being solely between EBCE and the developer and its financiers as may be necessary. But I wanted to flag this because this is something that EBCE will require in any PPAs for renewable energy going forward. Supplier diversity. I expect that most participants on this call are familiar with the Public Utilities Commission Supplier Diversity Program and have probably participated in reporting for the Supplier Diversity Program for a number of years already. The Supplier Diversity Program is part of the CPUC's General Order 156. Most developers have probably been performing supplier diversity related reporting to the investor-owned utilities for a number of years, but just in the last couple of years, CCAs have also started to perform supplier diversity reporting to the Public Utilities Commission on an annual basis. So you've probably already received some of these requests, and going forward, you will continue to receive requests from EBCE and other CCAs where we will ask about your status as a certified diverse business and or if you contract with any certified diverse businesses. If you or your vendors meet the qualifications of being of a diverse business, we encourage you to get certified. It's very easy to do. There's a link here to the State Supplier Clearinghouse where you can identify which vendors are diverse businesses and understand how to get certified, but it's actually a very easy process. EBCE and San Jose will issue questionnaires to our counterparties on an annual basis early in the calendar year. We also will provide technical assistance to support your certification and help you through the certification process. And at the link ebce.org/supplier diversity, we have created some useful resources that can help you go through the certification process. Now, as much as EBCE and San Jose are fully supportive of the intention behind General Order 156, and we support transacting with diverse businesses, Proposition 209 actually bars us from incorporating an entity's diverse status or lack of diverse status in our contracting and procurement decisions. So while we wholly support the intention of the goal, we are not able to incorporate diversity status in our decision making. Jim, back to you.
Thank you, Marie. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little about the timeline, and then we'll get to questions and answers here shortly. So you see a giant table. So we're starting today with the RFO webinar. The big dates coming up are the deadline for questions. That's March 11th. And so as we mentioned, we won't be taking questions after that date. Those are submitted through the email address that was listed. The deadline for notice of intent, that's a week later on March 17th, here in about the middle of the table. And then the big one is the deadline for offers is March 21st by the end of the day. Yeah, and just going back one, the notice of intent is March 17th, but it's at 2 p.m., just to clarify that. And then again, offers due March 21st. And then we'll work towards signing exclusivity for those received offers in May. And then the negotiations will happen during the summer with execution plan for the kind of the Q3, Q4 timeline of October to November. The contract execution will require board approval from both EBCE and San Jose Clean Energy's board. Okay, so next steps, again, as mentioned, notice of intent are sent through the website listed here using attachment A of the RFO protocol material. This will open up the link to your specific Dropbox folder. And as mentioned, the deadline for this is March 17th at 2 p.m. Before that is the final date for questions. Those are also sent to the email listed here, and that's at 2 p.m. on March 11th. And then the big one is to get the offers into Dropbox submitted by the final deadline, which is March 21st at 5 p.m. Okay, so there's questions in the chat, but I'm going to turn over to Marie and to Jean to answer any questions.
Thanks, Jim. We did receive a few questions in advance, and so we'll go through those before we get to the Q&A that have been submitted. And we're doing pretty well on time, so please feel free to keep submitting questions using the Q&A function. The first pre-sent question, I had a clarification question on long duration storage. Yeah, that's right. The protocol includes a typo. The protocol says that all storage offers have to have COD by 2025. That is not correct. We will accept offers for long duration storage, 8 hours or greater of duration, with CODs on or prior to June 1st, 2026. And we will be revising the protocol and reposting this shortly. Jean, did you have anything to add?
Nope. That sounds good.
Thank you. Next question, projects being submitted to the RFO under product 2. Just confirming that we are required to submit at least one configuration with a 10-year term, and that configurations with terms up to 20 years will be accepted or considered. Yes, the standard term for all offers across all products is 10 years. And we will evaluate longer tenors. You can submit an offer for 30 years, but our preference is for offers up to 20 years or fewer. But for the standard offers have certain tenors, and then again, your variations can be whatever you want, but we've provided some guidance as to our preferences. Jean, anything to add?
I'll just reiterate that, especially for San Jose, 20 years or less is a very strong preference.
Thank you. For standalone energy storage projects, are EBCE and San Jose open to other contracting structures like RA only or financial toll? Yes, we believe so. In going through today's presentation, I did realize that that the term sheet really, the product was defined as a storage tolling structure, and the term sheet is set up for a tolling contract. That said, we are open to RA only, or RA only with like a top 4 bottom 4 spread or other creative settlements. We will post a revised offer form. However, I do not expect we'll have time to post a revised term sheet for an RA only structure. So to the extent anyone is interested in posting or offering an RA only storage project, please mark up the tolling term sheet. John, anything to add?
I'll just add that for San Jose, it is our strong preference to have tolling. We will consider alternatives such as the top 4, I think it's bottom 5 spread, and other potential arrangements. We will consider RA only, but it's our strong preference to have some access to the energy from the capacity.
Thank you. There was a question about geothermal resources and whether or not they qualify since they carry emissions. It is EBCE and San Jose's understanding that there are differences between binary flash steam and dry steam geothermal technologies, and that the emissions associated with these technologies vary. So we are looking for emissions-free or de minimis emissions resources, de minimis emission as defined by the California Energy Commission. So with that said, if a counterparty has a resource that carries a small amount of emissions, please submit the offer and we will evaluate the emissions intensity of it and let you know if we believe it meets the intentions of the CPUC in their midterm reliability procurement mandate. Anything to add, Sean?
No, thanks.
There was sort of a tactical question that came in asking us to repost the offer form where comments are not locked. Apparently, some people are having a hard time, and that the comments fields are sort of blocking some of the tables. We would prefer to not unlock the offer form, but we are making some changes to the offer form so that any pop-up comments don't make it hard to see other fields. And we will get that reposted as soon as possible, probably this coming Monday. And I think that is the last of the pre-populated questions. We have a few questions that have come in through the chat function. The first is, in the protocol for standalone storage, the standard offer is 10 megawatts. Please confirm that that standalone storage must be a minimum of 10 megawatts, and you will not accept a 5 megawatt standalone storage, or 5 megawatts, for example. So yes, the standard offer is 10 megawatts. That said, for offer variants, you can submit a smaller megawatt size. John, anything to add to that one?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. The next question asks, what is a zero emitting resource? Wouldn't wind or solar be considered zero emitting? What's the difference? I'm actually just going to go back in. I'm going to go back in the deck for a moment. Bear with me. Yeah. So this nomenclature comes from the CPUC's midterm reliability decision and procurement mandate. A zero emitting resource in all likelihood is an RPS resource plus storage or a demand response resource. And what differentiates it, an RPS plus storage zero emitting resource from just a regular RPS plus storage resource, is not much, but the CPUC has specific sensitivity. Sorry, the CPUC explicitly called out that it's looking for resources that must be available every day between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. or hours ending 17 through 22. So that's really it. You could submit an offer for, I think it's product 2, RPS plus storage, and we might still, and that is an RPS plus storage resource, and we might consider it a zero emitting capacity resource if we have reason to believe that it would be available from 5 to 10 p.m. every day. Jean, do you have anything to add to that?
The only thing I'll add to that is, you know, the CPUC did provide a little bit of flexibility there in terms of emission free. So to the extent there is some other emission free resource that meets these requirements, we would consider it. But, you know, but generally you are correct that the emission free resources tend to be solar, wind, geothermal. But we're providing the flexibility that the CPUC decision allows.
Thank you. The next question is, would EBCE and San Jose consider an extension for demand response offers given the delay in releasing the term sheet and offer form? I think that's something that we can confer about offline, and we will provide an update on, either in the form of an updated due date or by confirming that the schedule stands. But we will get back to you in writing about that as soon as possible. Next question, is the maximum size based on nameplate capacity? Yes, that is how we thought about it. When we posted all of the capacity sizes, these were calculated based on nameplate capacity. San Jose and East Bay both have our own NQCs that we have to achieve in calendar years 23, 24, 25, and 26 from resources. But as participants are probably aware, how the NQC is calculated varies based on the type of resource and when the resource comes online. So we thought it was more straightforward to just list nameplate capacities for resources. John, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Great. Next question, do you have to submit standard offer to allow the variant offer to be evaluated? That is our intention. Jean, were you thinking otherwise?
I agree with you that the intent was people have to submit a standard offer in order for a variant offer to be considered.
Okay, thank you. And I think the last question, would geothermal be both product 6 and product 1? Yes, I suppose it could be both product 6 and product 1. John, do you actually, I think that this says product 6, but I think we actually mean product 4. Sorry about high capacity factor RPS is product 4. And so in all likelihood, a geothermal resource could be product 4 or product 1.
I agree with that.
Let's see, did we get any more questions? Oh, one more One more question. Please confirm energy only offers are permitted in location requirements. Resources are described as needing to be deliverable to CAISO. Because this RFO is designed to meet the CPUC's midterm reliability procurement mandate, and the midterm reliability procurement mandate requires that resources provide RA, we are primarily looking for resources that are deliverable and are able to participate in the RA program. That said, we can look at an energy only resource, an energy hedge. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong slide, in the firmer shaped RPS product category. John, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, that's accurate.
We received another question. You mentioned that resources should be online by 2025. What month are you targeting? Can we bid for COD on December 1st of 2025? So recognizing that the eligible 2026 resources are long duration storage or the high capacity factor resources, geothermal or biomass. I'm sorry, there's a little bit of background. So yeah, 2026 resources are only high capacity factor or long duration storage. Off the top of the 2025 compliance, I'm pretty sure, off the top of my head, I think it is June 1st of 2025, but it's again, these projects are for compliance with the midterm reliability decision. So they have to be online to allow us to meet the 2025 online dates for compliance with the decision. I don't remember what date that is off the top of my head. John, do you remember?
I don't. And so what we'll do is we'll look that up and provide that information.
Okay, thank you. That reminds me, we had a typo on slide 11 and said that RPS or RPS plus storage resources had to achieve COD in 2023 or 2024. I believe we will also accept 2025. And so if that is the case, we will post a correction in a Q&A document following the webinar. And then there's a chat question asking if we can provide a list of attendees or to share for potential partnering in this RFO. The more partnering will likely improve responses. That it is not something that we had considered, and candidly, we do have a list of names of people that have logged in, but I'm not sure that that Zoom is recording the names of people who logged in for this for this webinar. So I'm not sure that we'll be able to share names or companies, and unfortunately, we didn't ask people for people's permission to do so. So I wouldn't really feel comfortable doing that. That said, if there are any entities that are explicitly interested in partnering with other companies, you could email the RFO mailbox. Where is that address? You could email our RFO mailbox, which I think is 2022 RFO@ebce.org, and we can put you in touch with each other that way. And I believe that is all of the questions that we have received. Jean, is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, we look forward to receiving your bids.
I agree. We will be posting this webinar, the slides, possibly with some corrections, and written responses to all of these questions sometime next week. Thank you very much for participating today.